Well, the Center on Conflict and Development at Texas A&M University does a lot of things in relation to where conflict and development meet, and that was one of the things that attracted me to the job in the first place.
It's our job to do interdisciplinary projects and research in fragile and conflict-affected countries around the globe.
The role of Center on Conflict Development is to find out the factor causing conflicts, and we have to know how to prevent those conflicts.
We like to go to places that other people either can't or won't go to because we think that they're the places that need the most help a lot of times.
And it opens the door for a lot of other organizations that come in to utilize Texas A&M's experience and to increase the impact of the programming and to better understand the impact of the programming.
Well, rather than types of conflicts, we really focus on the drivers of conflict because our theory is, okay, if you can get rid of the drivers, you can diminish the conflict and prevent it. So the 4 drivers of conflict that we deal with mostly are related to food insecurity, to natural resource mismanagement, to local institutions that are either weak or underfunded, and then youth unemployment. So by addressing these drivers, we hope that we can kind of reduce conflict overall in the world.
Yeah, well, conflicts can be a lot of things. It can be conflict between 2 people, but we really are looking at armed conflict.
I think probably one of the best things we do is that we really bring together partners from across the campus for high-impact student experiences, as they're called, and that's led by our student engagement coordinator, Dr. Leslie Rule. And so some of the things she's done in the past, for instance, is work with the College of Engineering to do this event called Aggie's Event, where you bring kids together for 3 days and they work on different projects. And they work to solve specific real-life problems that are brought to us by contractors, by development professionals, from problems that they're actually facing in the field right now. And they bring it so that these college kids can work on them for 3 days as a team and try to solve them. So I think that's pretty cool.
The project I'm most proud of that I've contributed to at ConDev is the capstone program from the Bush School. Capstone is just a thesis, the working thesis that the Bush School graduates do before they can graduate. I worked with them, a group of about 6 students and a professor, Dr. Kishore Gawande, and I laid the foundation for the work in the Democratic Republic of Congo. I worked with them for about 4 months, and then they were invited, and the Bush School and the ConDev paid for them to come visit me in the Democratic Republic of Congo and visit two programs.
Personally, of course, I'm partial to the student media grant just because I have the privilege of running it. I think it's great that these students can get out there, get overseas to these areas, and that's really thanks to a lot of our Texas A&M administrators who have the gumption to sign off on all these trips where we can send students to cool places. It wouldn't be possible what we do without them. But yeah, I think it's wonderful that these students who are young, they're excited about their projects, can get out and actually do this stuff, because that's how they get inspired to actually go into development. I mean, it's not an armchair desk kind of job. And I think that's how we come up with better field people who are more aware of the circumstances they're working in overseas by getting them in there early on.
I think one of the very first projects that I got brought on to work with was the student media grant. And that's definitely my favorite just because it's kind of tailored to my area of expertise. I'm not an expert at anything, but yeah, mostly because I really believe that in order to enact change, people need to know that there's something wrong, and the biggest push towards teaching people and making people aware of things is putting it in media, because that's where people spend 90% of their attention is like on their phones, on the internet, on social media. And so this grant provides an opportunity for students to go and create and like make media that can get attention of people, which is the first step to alleviating an issue.
So yeah, ConDev does have some folks based overseas, a lot of whom work closely with the ConDev Foundation which is the arm of ConDev that's funded by the Howard G. Buffett Foundation.
My research has been a lot of office work when I'm here in College Station, but there is a different side of research when you're on the ground, you're meeting with people.
We focus on fragile countries and conflict-ridden areas, and so the areas that we've chosen to do work in typically fall under those categories.
Miss Joanna Roman does a lot of work in Latin America. For instance, she tries to keep kids off gangs by teaching them about hydroponic gardening. She gets kids involved in sports, again, to keep them out of gangs, to give them something productive to do. She works with a lot of our women down there to get them jobs in packaging plants. So what they do is they package vegetables, it extends the shelf life, and then they can sell them for more. So that in turn gives these women a means of supporting themselves. So that way, if they're in a bad home situation or otherwise, they have the means to get out of it. And they have a job, they have employment.
One of the programs that caught my mind was the Quality Protein Maize program running in Guatemala, where it's multi-factored, where they are increasing the quality of the maize that is being consumed, and also looking at the wider implications of that on household dynamics and gender violence in Guatemala. We recently won a $1.2 million grant to partner with ConDev University in Afghanistan, where we will help them develop their curriculum and really kind of broaden their higher education ability. That's what I've been working on predominantly while I've been here, and it's the one that I feel closest to, especially because the focus is on higher education capacity building.
Opium replacement in Myanmar. I think that was really sort of a cool engagement. We were involved with veterans of World War II who lived and worked with the hill tribes of Burma, interrupting supply lines to the military, dominant military forces that were trying to occupy the region. And later on, these same tribes became key in the opium supply trade. And we felt that it was important to try to help them divorce themselves or get out of the opium business.
Our programming exists a lot in Africa to really utilize some of the opportunities that Howard G. Buffett presented through his foundation and through its funding, specifically in Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo.
So we also have staff based in the DRC. So we have 3 field coordinators there, and they work very closely with Virunga National Park, which you might have heard of from the Netflix documentary Virunga. For instance, there's a hydroelectric dam going in there that the Howard G. Buffett Foundation is putting in. And so some of our researchers are over there going, okay, is this actually going to help people over there? Is it going to create jobs? Is it going to give kids the chance to study now that they have electricity at night? And things like that. We're also working on a one-stop border post on the border with Rwanda and DRC. And so we have a field coordinator based there in Goma, and Gavin Finnegan. And and so what they're doing is they're building a border post that will facilitate trade. And the whole idea is that if these countries do more trading, then they're going to interact more, have more social interactions, more professional interactions, and that this will generate peace.
As a researcher, we are looking to see the impacts of this one-stop border post. So we want to see what changes are made to the people who trade, what changes are made to the communities that will be affected by the border post. My favorite project that I've worked on here at ConDev has been the National Irrigation Project. For a few reasons. One, it's massive. So about 2,000 families will be directly affected by this project. The technology that we're using at the project is very new and up and coming, so the pumps are completely solar fed, so it's a completely green project from that standpoint. So it's been really interesting.
I think another one that's just really intriguing is the work that we've done with the Congolese military, the FARDC. So we've been involved with the Congolese military and helping them grow their own food. And that's becoming a very successful project, quite exciting.
Ghana. We have a girl named Elise Dykstra, and she's based over in Ghana, and she's an ag specialist, and so she works to train farmers in sustainable farming techniques.
Definitely a food security assessment in three countries, Ghana, Senegal, and Liberia.
I especially, while working overseas, like to interact with fellow university graduates or even current students. I like being able to contribute to their education while they help me out with my research and the mission of ConDev. They have a completely different perspective a lot of times than I do, and there's a lot to learn from that.
Korea governments and ConDev, for instance, RDA, Rural Development Administration, and ConDev actually signed agreements for working on African countries.
Monitoring and evaluation is a fairly formal process for donor agencies, and they want you to set milestones in advance to monitor whether or not you meet those milestones, explain why you did or did not meet the milestones.
Part of what we do again with M&E is we see if projects actually work. So it's one thing to go in and just say, okay, I'm going to give somebody $5,000, but it's something else altogether, I think, to go in and say, okay, this is what people did with it, this is how it improved lives, and did it work or did it make the situation worse, especially with regard to conflict.
Also, one needs to be open-minded throughout the process and be ever ready to take new directions and understand why you need to take new directions, because most discovery in most science is achieved not because you set a goal and said that that's where I'm going to end up. It's by proceeding toward that goal and then discovering along the way what's a better path.